is on the internet. See what he says. The race has been spoon-fed for this long, and then they've adopted a beggar's attitude. They go back to the government, everything that they've got was not satisfactory, and they go and sell it to other people, and then they go back to the government asking for more. This is what he wrote, and this must stop.
Yeah, I think we understand where you're coming from, but from a research perspective, there are clear guidelines and clear criteria that we really need to meet, because when we present this to the JPNIM and publish it in a journal, it will be attacked from all sides or commended. So it's not, we really cannot load the questions and ask and assume certain things, because we want to really find out what really are the problems, what are the core problems. Like for example, your suggestion about assuming certain things. You're assuming that you're taking a position that the other minority groups are being discriminated. That type of question will be quite dangerous for us to put in. And therefore, if you look at this report, it's actually a very neutral report in the sense that we ask you the questions, you give us the answers, we give you our data. The conclusions we have analyzed, we're going to publish a report so you can have a look at it. And you can take back the data yourself and you analyze it yourself. And of course, we have our own analysis which we will give the government, which basically we presented today. And it's up to you whether you want to agree with it or not. I don't think asking the type of question that you have suggested will improve or help us produce a credible report. Of course, Raja Petra writes on different things on his blog, and we have to respect his freedom. And definitely, if we want to write like this, definitely I think we can look at our analysis and see whether it's credible or not. So I think credibility for us is very important, because this is the NYLC and CPPS project. Of course, we are not perfect, but we cannot definitely ask questions which are loaded, full of assumptions.
If I could add one small point. I think we need to differentiate between the research and the analysis. I think we are perfectly free to call a spade when we make the analyses and the recommendations and the conclusions that we draw. But when it comes to research, research has to be, again, as I say, objective. And I think the best ideal would be to use these results to speak for themselves. To be objective in asking the questions, but hey, the responses are so overwhelming that you can read a lot into the actual results themselves. So I think, yeah, we can differentiate between that. And I think we have been fairly bold, even with the Jabatan itself, in telling them these are the problems, and you need to address these urgently. Yeah.
And we are wondering whether the Jabatan will allow us to publish this report. The Jabatan has only allowed us to publish a press statement at the moment, and we try to get approval. Even the press statement, we needed some time. So let's just wait and see. Hopefully, we'll be able to publish it.
Sir, you had a question?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment.
Ma'am, can you wait? Can I let her go first? Thank you.
Great research, thank you very much. Clearly, Malaysia has its own unique issues, but do you think it's possible to carry out any sort of meaningful comparative studies with other international? If so, what do you think the results may show?
There are comparative studies being undertaken right now, comparing Malaysia, for example, with South Africa. And I think we can draw comparisons to others, but again, it's very difficult because Malaysia is a very unique country in and of itself. Even if we do try and take in best practices from other countries, we need to understand the dynamics and race, religion, context that we have here. But South Africa is one of them.
From our perspective, the human rights position, I think the Bar Council, I think we're very clear that if international standards set certain criteria. So for example, like even in CEDAW, you have affirmative action to increase women participation in different areas. So affirmative action is not really a problem on the human rights level. So long as there's clearly defined criteria And so long as those affirmative action policies are limited to a period which is definite, and when the needs of that action are met, then those policies must stop. So definitely, even from the human rights perspective, we have really no problems with affirmative action. But when you talk about the NEP and the NDP, where there is real statistics that is not really benefiting the poor anymore, and when some of the criteria have been met, then we can have that kind of discussion. And of course, comparative studies always very difficult. So the easiest way is to really just, as I said, look at the international standards. Racial discrimination. What is defined as racial discrimination, and how do you stop that? So I think that would be easier to accept. But unfortunately, the government is not being as sensitive as we would like it to be.
And of course, some of the other international indicators would be things like the Human Development Index, which and comparison of Gini coefficients. How is wealth distribution in the countries? Even in Asia, for example, Malaysia is one of the highest Gini coefficient. Another thing is, of course, international budget transparency standards, and the CPPS, we just completed a budget project which is going to be launched internationally in October this year. So I think these are indicators and ranks which will tell you where Malaysia stands vis-a-vis the other countries, and as citizens, we need to look out for all these indicators.
I'd like to make one comment, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Let us not forget, ladies and gentlemen, that the civil society made up of people like you and me, the good people seated down here. We have exercised our citizens' right at the ballot and denied the PN of the 2/3 majority. We should congratulate ourselves and go forward with an open mind. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think in light of that, it's actually been very positive for us, because it means that we can do the work that we're supposed to be doing with a lot more space, with a lot more confidence and boldness. And I hope that the civil society will be working together with us on this. I think we should probably wrap up soon. I'm not sure. Chandrika, I think we'll take one last question. Yes, sir.
So, just a comment on perception. Yesterday it was shown that out of the 7 billionaires, 5 are Chinese, 1 million are Indian. Yet I will say the Chinese are significantly negative response to economic policies. Then on the other hand, the Indian one, from 1.3%, we have dropped to 0.9. Only 3 or 4 fellows are holding the economy there. But when you do surveys and ask